Hello, 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 my crafty friends. This is Lori, Girl on the Ridge. It's a nice, quiet Sunday afternoon, and I have another little book I'd like to share with you. This little book, this is called Lexi, the Little Runaway, and I'm going to go in story mode now. This is an envelope that Lexi's mama had saved from her mama. So this meant a lot to Lexi. So Lexi was brought up by her mama and papa. And this is a little bag journal. First of all, little bag journal with very grungy, torn paper, and just kind of fun. I think we've got 40 pages front to back. I had fun doing this. So Lexi was brought up by her mama and papa, and she was loved going out to dinner, and her papa would spoil her. And yes, tragedy struck, and there was a coach accident. So poor Lexi was left all by herself, and she had to go live with her aunt and uncle, who also had 2 daughters. So poor Lexi was not in the attic, but she was in a bedroom, a small bedroom, all the way at the end of the hall. And she was treated differently. So Lexi knew that her uncle ran a shipping yard. So she knew she was going to stow away on one of the ships. So she went around. She was horrified that her aunt would take all her mother's stuff and rip it apart and make clothes for her 2 cousins. So Lexi at night would go around and take snippets. This was part of her cousin's dress that was actually her mama's. And she'd run back to her room and she'd put everything back in this envelope. So she would piece things together. And this is a picture of her beautiful mama. And all these are pieces, well, in my mind, remember, of her mama's dresses. And this was a piece of the last bag of flour that her mama bought. So she ripped that up. And this is a pretty piece of lace. This was a piece of her mama's shawl that she remembers. So she was just collecting this, and at night she would find all these ripped pieces of paper in her uncle's office, and she'd go through the fireplace and just find ripped, burnt pieces, and she would just collect them and put stuff on with a little wax. And that she did find a picture of her papa. And this was, again, in my mind, this was in her uncle's office. So she just took that, and it's like a shipping thing, which is actually a time card from A Tattered Dream. And little tabs that she had found. So there's her papa. And then she found some more material and burlap from just different things that her mama had. This was part of a little piece of stationery that was left that she found in her aunt, next to her aunt's desk. So she just kind of took a piece from the back. And this was the last piece that her and her mama embroidered together. So this was on the dining room table of her aunt's, off her aunt's table. So she took a piece off the back so her aunt wouldn't notice it right away until Lexi was gone. And buttons from a dress and more lace. And then she knew she'd be on the, she was going to stow away. So she went to the kitchen and she took a couple jars of food. I don't know, crackers and applesauce. I don't know. And she did take her mama's cooking book. She wasn't going to leave that behind. And this was some of her mama's dried flowers. And again, the paper she had just taken out of the fireplace that her uncle would work in the office at night. And as soon as he left, she would dash in there and try to stamp it out and salvage what she could. This is some of her mama's music paper and flowers. So this is kind of lightly embellished, I would say. And more, I ripped all the paper, inked it, coffee dyed it, and then I baked it. And these are some letters that actually it would have been Lexi's mama had kept from her mama. So those are just little note things. And this was a doily from her tablecloth. Writing spots. And this was just an envelope I made with a Tim Holtz stamp. And then in it was Lexi. There was and this is very old and vintage, piece of lace that Lexi wanted to save. She knew someday she was going to either be a seamstress or she was going to not depend on anybody. And this was a piece of tatting that her and her mama had done together. And she ripped it off her aunt's dresser, because her aunt was very mean. And more paper out of the fireplace. I love doing these books. And some more, just some muslin that she had found. And this was some more stationery that was left over from Mama. And she took some more of the lace from underneath one of the cousin's dress. She took some snippets off of there. She tried to find as many things as she could to put in this book so she could carry it under her shirt when she stows away on the boat and the ship. And this is another little glassine bag, also from the Tattered Dream. And everything will be listed below. And just some more paper. She took some music paper. Anything that reminded her of her mama and papa, she was going to try to take with her. And that was just an old receipt, Tsunami Rose. And just a piece from one of her mama's books. And that's some sari silk. And some more muslin. And another timesheet from A Tattered Dream. And more paper from the fireplace that she dashed into to get. And here's another little envelope that her mama had written on. And a tag. This is from one of the petticoats that she had. And then she had one of the favorite places she went to. Her mama took her to a restaurant, so she had a little menu there. That's from Artie Mays. And more from a dress. It was her mama's dress. And then lastly, she had a couple cards. These are my vintage cards that I found in a museum of playing cards. Actually, I'll ink them up. And her and her mama and papa would play cards. So she is about to stow away on a trip. So you'll have to find out the rest of the story when I make the big journal of Lexi. This tucks in here. And this will be closed with a seam binding. And this will be listed in my Etsy. So this is Lexi, the little runaway, and I will follow this up with a big journal, and we will learn how she goes to the States, stows away, and the captain finds her. So we will see. So you guys have a nice night, and bye.